Today, we will use a scientific perspective to explore the complex truth behind meteorological events. According to the latest news from the Fox News website in the United States, a severe winter storm hit parts of the central United States on January 8th, bringing severe snowstorms, heavy rain and gusty winds to several states. Up to a foot of snow fell in areas from southeastern Colorado to Michigan's Upper Peninsula, including western Kansas, eastern Nebraska, parts of Iowa, northern Missouri, and northwestern Illinois. Lincoln, Nebraska, saw several inches of snowfall and winds reaching 45 miles per hour. Interstate 80 in central Nebraska and portions of Interstate 70 in Kansas have been closed due to hazardous traffic conditions. Thank you for liking, leaving comments, subscribing, and turning on the little bell. We will update every day. The National Weather Service said the blizzard system will move eastward on Tuesday into early Wednesday, while unstable weather conditions will remain in the western U.S. Heavy snow and strong winds stretched from the Texas Panhandle to Nebraska by Monday evening, and local authorities had responded to dozens of weather-related incidents on the roadways and urged residents not to travel. In Kansas, Highway Patrol troopers warned, "If you get stuck, we won't be able to rescue you because we have limited mobility." The blizzard and heavy snow made it difficult for people to see the road clearly, and the authorities encountered huge difficulties in rescue. Several northeastern states have been hit by their first snowstorm, with more than half a foot of snow falling, and the next wave of rain is coming, raising concerns about flooding in the Northeast. New York City has issued a flood watch set to begin Tuesday night, warning of heavy rain, strong winds, and possible coastal flooding. New York Governor Kathy Hochul said at a press conference on Monday, "This is an emergency, it's serious, and we urge all New Yorkers to use extreme caution at this time. Heavy rains will accelerate snowmelt and increase the amount of water flowing into waterways, increasing the likelihood of flooding in these areas. As a result, the rainfall risk for parts of the Northeast and Carolinas is level 3 on Tuesday. The threat extends from Georgia to Massachusetts. In North Carolina, Governor Roy Cooper declared a state of emergency ahead of expected rain, warning that strong winds could also mean widespread power outages. For Louisiana and Mississippi, the rain has been both a gift and a worry. Because although drought conditions have improved significantly since November due to recent excess rainfall, both places are still dealing with serious challenges. With more than 5 inches of above normal rainfall along the Gulf Coast from New Orleans to Tallahassee, Fla, since December 1st, saturated ground can quickly become flooded. Winter storm warnings stretched more than 1,000 miles from Arizona to Michigan as the storm moved in. A blizzard warning is in effect Monday for parts of New Mexico, eastern Colorado, Oklahoma, and the Texas Panhandle, western Kansas, and southwestern Nebraska. Up to a foot of snow could continue to bury parts of the region Monday. The United States is frequently hit by snowstorms, and the reasons are complex. First, climate change leads to an increase in extreme weather events. In recent years, due to the influence of global warming, the intersection of warm and humid air currents and cold air in the United States has increased, making snowstorms more likely to occur. According to statistics from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the frequency of snowstorms in the northern United States has increased significantly over the past few decades. Secondly, there is the impact of Atlantic variability. Atlantic variability refers to changes in Atlantic Sea temperatures and atmospheric circulation, which can affect temperatures and precipitation in the eastern United States. During the positive phase, the surface sea temperature in the Atlantic Ocean is warmer, making it more likely that the Arctic cold current will move southward to the northeastern United States, which is prone to blizzards. During the negative phase, the sea surface temperature is relatively cold, and blizzards are less likely to occur in the northeastern United States. More importantly, the impact of La Niña. The La Niña phenomenon will increase the sea temperature of the Pacific Ocean, affect the atmospheric circulation in North America, and enhance the southward movement of cold air from the Arctic and Canada. During La Niña events, the frequency of extreme cold snaps and heavy snowfalls in the Midwestern United States will increase. Studies have shown that the average snow accumulation in the United States in strong La Niña years is more than 20% higher than in normal years. What cannot be ignored is that it may be related to the reduction of Arctic sea ice. The Arctic sea ice has been declining at an accelerated rate in recent years, making it easier for cold polar air to travel south to the North American continent, exacerbating the occurrence of extreme winter weather. Some research results show that the decrease in Arctic sea ice is related to the increase in heavy snow belts in North America in winter. What deserves more attention is that large-scale weather patterns also affect the frequency of snowstorms in the United States. For example, changes in the North Atlantic Oscillation and Arctic Oscillation will change the upper altitude jet stream and affect the intersection of mid- and low-level moist airflow with cold air from the north. If the oscillation is abnormally strengthened, it will make it easier for polar cold air to invade the interior of North America and produce more blizzards. What cannot be ignored is that local topography and landform factors are also very important. The mountainous areas and Great Lakes areas in the northeastern United States are all prone to snowstorms. When large-scale weather systems encounter these terrains, blizzards can easily occur and intensify. For example, New England is close to the Atlantic Ocean and has abundant water vapor sources. When encountering the tidal effect and mountain effect of the Great Lakes, outstanding heavy snow weather is often produced. After a snowstorm, a variety of secondary disasters usually occur. First, there is severe traffic paralysis. Heavy snow can cause roads to become icy and clogged with garbage, leading to serious traffic jams or even complete paralysis. Planes are unable to take off and land, train transportation is interrupted, and road traffic is slow or blocked. This not only affects the transportation of disaster relief materials, but also delays patients' medical treatment. Traffic accidents are prone to occur on icy roads, especially chain rear-end collisions. Secondly, it will cause large-scale power outages. Snowstorms often knock down power lines or break tree branches and crush utility poles, causing power outages. Sustained low temperatures over a large area will also increase residents' electricity load, further aggravating the overload of the transmission system and easily causing tripping and power outages. This will lead to a complete paralysis of home life and commercial activities and also increase the risk of life, especially the harm to the sick and the elderly. More seriously, it can cause damage to the water supply system. Snowstorms seriously affect water supply facilities, causing burst pipes and damage to water treatment systems. A large number of residents were forced to face water shortages. Water pollution can also threaten health. In addition, snowmelt floods can also destroy dikes and pollute water sources. In addition, it will also cause communication interruption. Mobile base stations cannot work after a power outage, and landline calls will also be disrupted in large areas. This will result in the disaster area being cut off from the outside world, making it impossible to send distress signals and increasing the risk to lives. This also makes it impossible to seek help through the internet and other means, making rescue more difficult. It is worth mentioning that it will cause damage to the building. Heavy snowstorms in blizzards can easily cause a series of structural damage such as roof collapse, exterior walls falling off, falling trees, broken poles and wires of civil buildings, posing a threat to building safety. Too much snow entering a house will increase the load on the roof and collapse the building. In addition, melting snow will penetrate into the house and damage the interior decoration. In addition, snowstorms can also cause injuries and deaths of people trapped in cars for long periods of time. In severe traffic jams caused by heavy snow, many people are trapped in cars, and the temperature inside the car can quickly drop to fatally low temperatures, which can cause severe hypothermia and injury to the people in the car. Some people mistakenly leave their vehicles running to obtain heat, but this can lead to carbon monoxide poisoning accidents. What is easily overlooked is the fire hazard caused by snowstorms. Surges in heating loads increase fire hazards. After a snowstorm cuts off the power supply, some people will use open fires to keep warm, which can lead to frequent fires. The fire will also be difficult to rescue due to impassable roads. Even more far-reaching is the blizzard's paralysis of urban operations. Traffic disruptions have completely paralyzed public service systems such as medical care, firefighting, debris removal, public transportation, etc., which will greatly hinder life. Lack of access to essential services such as dialysis and medication supplies can also be life-threatening. The garbage cannot be cleaned and will pollute the environment. Government functions are also affected. What is more long-term is the economic losses and production interruptions caused by the snowstorm. The snowstorm has caused travel difficulties, will lead to the closure of businesses, affected consumption, and put all walks of life facing severe challenges. Cutting off routes to work can also cause production to come to a complete halt. These will severely impact the economy and have lasting effects. In fact, the formation of a snowstorm is not complicated, but it needs to meet some comprehensive geographical and climatic conditions. First, there is a sufficient source of water vapor. The main steam supply area for snowstorms is on the west side of the subtropical high pressure, including the Gulf of Mexico, the west coast of the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific Ocean, and other places. The water temperature in these sea areas is relatively high and evaporation is strong, providing water vapor for snowstorms. Internal continental lakes such as the Great Lakes also contribute local water vapor. Secondly, there is the strong updraft. Frontal systems or topography at mid to high latitudes are needed to drive large amounts of air upward. Warm and moist air flows upward when encountering cold air to form a front or is forced upward by mountainous terrain. Sharp rises can cause condensation of moisture and release of precipitation. At the same time, the participation of cold air is also required. Blizzards also require the participation of frigid air from the polar and Arctic regions. The temperature of these cold air is extremely low, and when it encounters warm and humid air, it will produce strong convection and precipitation. This is a key condition for creating a snowstorm. What must be mentioned is the favorable configuration of atmospheric circulation. Large-scale air mass convergence is required, such as the combination of the polar vortex and mid-latitude low pressure, so that the water vapor transport system and the cold air can be perfectly spread out. Mid- and upper-level atmospheric circulation is also required to favor the development and southward movement of these systems. More importantly, it is to study the terrain conditions where the snowstorm occurs. Topography can enhance surface water vapor and heat exchange, or enhance updrafts, which can trigger or intensify snowstorms. The Great Lakes region and mountains of the northeastern United States are most susceptible to the superposition of such mechanisms. In fact, it is especially important to take some appropriate evasive measures when driving and encountering a snowstorm. First of all, pay attention to weather warnings and evaluate whether your trip is necessary. Before a blizzard strikes, you must always pay attention to the blizzard warning issued by the meteorological department. If it is not a particularly important activity, you should try to cancel the original trip. Secondly, prepare cold protection and emergency supplies, such as thick coats, hats, scarves, gloves, waterproof anti-skid boots, ice grips, snow chains, anti-skid mats, cold-proof blankets, flashlights, etc. Prepare a small emergency toolbox in the car with escape equipment. More importantly, keep your phone and in-car devices charged. Snowstorms may cause widespread power outages, so make sure your communication devices are fully charged before going out. At the same time, add antifreeze and check the condition of the vehicle. Before traveling, check and add antifreeze, and check the condition of the wipers, heating system, etc. Prepare shovels, sandboxes, etc. In addition, drive carefully and slowly, and be sure to turn on low-beam headlights to improve visibility. Keep a wide distance from the vehicle in front to avoid traffic jams, skidding, and chain collisions. Selectively use anti-skid devices according to the actual icy conditions on the road, and pay attention to changes in road conditions at any time. It is worth mentioning that you should avoid driving in plain open areas and try to choose roads with shelters or woods. This can slow down the wind speed and provide an emergency shelter. Pay attention to weather changes and road traffic conditions at any time, and return in time when necessary. Avoid driving when the wind and snow are at their strongest. When a vehicle is trapped, some self-rescue methods are also important. First, call the police immediately for help and share the location. Then try to reduce the temperature loss inside the car. It is strictly prohibited to turn on the vehicle's air conditioning and heating function for heating. This creates a potential risk of carbon monoxide poisoning. Secondly, avoid a lot of activities that consume physical energy. You can lie down on the car seat to reduce the exposed area. Use flannel and clothing to warm up. Keep vehicle exhaust pipes clear to avoid poisoning. You can start the vehicle for 10 minutes every hour to heat it and open the windows to avoid poisoning. What's more important is to stay awake while waiting for rescue. They can keep each other warm and move their limbs regularly. And pay close attention to your physical condition to see if you are suffering from heat stroke poisoning. If you are trapped on foot, you also need to take timely self-rescue methods. The first thing is to find shelter as quickly as possible. When a snowstorm suddenly strikes, quickly find a place where you can temporarily take shelter from wind and snow, such as dense woods, behind rocks, roadside caves, under bridges, etc. These places provide temporary protection from strong winds and blizzards. Secondly, use clothing and natural materials to insulate and keep warm. You can use the clothes, papers, branches, and other materials you carry with you to build a simple windproof barrier in the shelter to seal up the surroundings of the body. Multiple layers of clothing can keep the body warm, and curling up can also reduce the loss of body heat from the body surface area. In addition, keep your body active to generate heat. It is necessary to move the limbs and trunk appropriately to help the body heat up. You can first do some simple exercises, such as waving your arms, kicking your legs, swinging your body, etc., to speed up blood flow and temporarily increase your body temperature. But don't exercise too much to consume your energy. What cannot be ignored is finding fuel to light a fire to keep warm. Making a fire using twigs, fallen leaves, and other fuel that can be collected around the shelter will keep people warm. Use caution, control the fire, and consider smoke emissions. Also prevent burns and fire accidents when lighting a fire. At the same time, actively call for help and inform the location. During the survival period, you should try your best to send rescue information through mobile phones, etc., and inform rescuers of your approximate location. And try to make yourself more visible in the snow by moving slightly. What must be mentioned is the need to help other trapped people to keep warm. If multiple people are stuck together, they can snuggle together for warmth and take turns sleeping or going out to scout. This encourages each other and maximizes chances of survival. At present, many countries have accumulated valuable experience in dealing with snowstorm disasters, which is worth learning from other countries. First of all, Japan has a very complete snowstorm disaster prevention system. The Japan Meteorological Agency has formulated detailed snowstorm classification standards combining snow depth, wind speed and intensity, and other parameters to provide scientific warnings. The supporting three-dimensional disaster prevention system is covered, and each unit has a clear division of labor. It also relies on high-density meteorological observation networks and radar monitoring devices to achieve accurate monitoring and forecasting of snowstorms. The system operates efficiently. Secondly, the Canadian government also attaches great importance to public disaster prevention education and publicity. Use various media channels to educate the public about self-rescue knowledge and prevention methods during snowstorms. At the same time, disaster prevention education in schools is also carried out to cultivate children's safety awareness. This soft disaster prevention measure improves the nation's ability to cope with extreme weather. At the same time, Nordic countries such as Sweden and Finland use smart information technology to monitor road ice and snow conditions, and provide risk warnings for the transportation system. The accompanying GPS navigation can also guide drivers to avoid roads heavily covered with snow. This technical means ensures the safety and smooth flow of traffic. The blizzard prevention and disaster reduction measures adopted by each country according to their own national conditions are relatively comprehensive and rich, and can be used as an important reference for other countries to formulate policies. The learning and localization of these successful experiences can illustrate that countries and regions continue to improve their snow disaster defense capabilities. Thank you for liking, leaving a message, subscribing, and turning on the little bell. We will update the latest news from around the world every day. Continue to use a scientific perspective to explore the complex truth behind meteorological events.